So Joe Biden, this is Thomas Massey, the representative from Kentucky, who seems to be kind of this outsider force. He seems to be like one of the only good ones in Congress as we're seeing at this point. Thomas Massey posted this saying, watch 2007 video of Senator Joe Biden clarifying that 2024 President Joe Biden has committed an impeachable offense by authorizing U.S. supplied and targeted missiles to attack the sovereign country of Russia. And that's what Joe Biden's doing right now to implement World War III. He's sending weapons over to Ukraine, weapons that Ukrainians don't even know how to function properly, and making direct attacks into Russia, into Russian territory. So here's Joe Biden in 2007 on MSNBC saying about George W. Bush that we could easily be saying about current Joe Biden. Listen to this.
But I want to ask you about something you've been involved with. You said that if the President of the United States had launched an attack on Iran without congressional approval, that would have been an impeachable offense. Do you want to review
Absolutely.
that comment you made? Well, how do you stand on that now?
Yes,
do you think
I do. I want to stand by that comment I made. The reason I made the comment was as a warning. The reason I don't say those things lightly, Chris. You've known me for a long time. I was chairman of the Judiciary Committee for 17 years, or its ranking member. I teach separation of powers and constitutional law. This is something I know. So I got together and brought a group of constitutional scholars together to write a piece that I'm going to deliver to the whole United States Senate, pointing out the president has no constitutional authority to take this nation to war against a country of 70 million people unless we're attacked or unless there is proof that we are about to be attacked. And if he does, I would move to impeach him. The House obviously has to do that, but I would lead an effort to impeach him. The reason for my doing that, I don't say it lightly. I say it because they should understand that what they were threatening, what they were saying, what was adding up to be, what looked like to the rest of the world what we're about to do, would be the most disastrous thing that could be done at this moment in our history that I can think of.
Wow. So that was him saying that at the time to George W. Bush, that he should be impeached for sending weapons, U.S. weapons, to attack a sovereign nation, another sovereign nation. The same exact scenario that we're currently doing right now under Joe Biden, the guy who just said that. The guy that said that should be an impeachable offense. We're doing that right now under Joe Biden. Joe Biden's doing that right now in America. And that was in 2007 on MSNBC. Here, just to remind people that even though he said that in 2007, doesn't mean he actually meant it. And I would think that the reason he's saying that, particularly at that time, was he was about to run for president. So, Kanoka the Great points out, Joe Biden was the senator most responsible for starting the Iraq War. As chair of the Committee on Foreign Relations, he blocked experts from testifying that concluded Saddam did not have weapons of mass destruction. Why trust him about Ukraine? So the guy that's telling you that we need to impeach the president for doing unjust attacks on a sovereign nation, that we're sending U.S.-grade weaponry to one country to do formal attacks on another country, unjust attacks on a sovereign nation. This guy has a long-standing history of supporting that. And makes me think that the only reason he said that in 2007 because he was running for president. Because look at him. This is him in the Iraq War. He blocked experts from testifying that there was no weapons of mass destruction. There never was. Never was. But lied people enough in the nation to get us involved into another unjust war. Just like saying Assad gassed his own people. Just like saying Russia came in and took over Ukraine. Just like we've been saying about, October 7th. They're all false flag attacks. They're all false flag narratives to trick people, to sell you the idea of unjust warfare. And people like him have been blocking the truth for people to find out that all these wars are complete crap. So here's just a year later. That was 2007, what he said there on MSNBC. Here's 2008 Joe Biden saying that the Afghanistan war was acceptable. Listen to this.
How we end this war. And it makes a big difference to tell the American people the truth about what our options are in ending this war. If tomorrow the order goes out from I'm President of the United States, I issue an order, end the war today, begin to withdraw all American troops. It will take a year to get the American troops out. Do you hear me now? That's the truth. It will take a year to get them physically out. Now, if you leave all the equipment behind, you might be able to do it in 7 months. And you leave those billions of dollars of weapons behind, I promise they're going to be used against your grandchild and mine someday.
Which is exactly what he did. Exactly what he did. He pulled out of Afghanistan, pulled the troops out of there, and left billions of dollars of weapons off to the Taliban. The Taliban, the terrorist group that we funded and organized. We did it purposely. He just told you there so that they can use those weapons to attack further. Meaning that eventually more terrorist groups are going to form in Afghanistan and the Middle East, and we'll have an excuse to go back. So, Joe Biden, this is a gaffe of his. This is when he drops the truth bomb on this. It's telling you exactly why he did that horrible get out of Afghanistan that did not solve anything other than the fact that we left billions of dollars of weapons off to the Taliban so we have an excuse to go back to Afghanistan because terrorists will rise again. We don't stop terrorism, we create more terror because in order to fight a war on terror and capitalize a war on terror, we have to create the terror. That's what he said back in 2008, saying about this.
Okay.
And now, what's this video here? So now, fast forward to him be actually president. This is him as President Joe Biden. And again, he's going to accidentally blurt out he is implementing World War III. Something that 2007 Biden would tell you that's an impeachable offense. That he should be held on count of that. He should be held accountable for his actions. And here's Joe Biden just openly admitting that he's putting himself on the self-destruct button of America to implement World War III by sending more weapons to Ukraine to go and attack in Russian territory. Listen to this.
Look, the idea that we're going to send in offensive equipment and have planes and tanks and trains going in with American pilots and American crews, just understand, and don't kid yourself, no matter what you all say, that's called World War III.
And that's what we're doing. That is exactly what we're doing. Although, if you tell that to Joe Biden now, he'll just keep telling you that we have to be supportive of our allies. It's about our allies. It's about supporting Ukraine. It's about supporting the democracy that's over there. The sovereignty of Ukraine. You know, protecting the democracy and sovereignty that we overthrew in 2014. A lot of people don't know about that because they're not told that. And you're not supposed to know about that. So they could sell you the war. Because if people knew about the backstory of why they're in war, why this conflict arose, why Russia did what they did, then people would understand that this is all made up. This is all a manufactured proxy war so they can go and attack Russia. But they didn't want to attack Russia themselves. America doesn't want to get involved in that, so they use Ukrainians as cannon fodder. They use Ukrainians as the bait, as the pawns in this crazy harebrained scheme to go after Russia, try to separate the territory, balkanize Russia, and sell off its resources and land to places like BlackRock and Vanguard. Well, it turns out they did not do that. It wasn't that easy because Russia has nuclear arsenal. Russia has a very dense, powerful military. Russia was well prepared about this. Almost like they've been threatened with the idea of war from America for many, many years. Almost like they caught on to the fact that America wants to do another Cold War. But now, since we got the United Nations on board, since Canada's on board with this, since this has become a full proxy NATO war, it has evolved itself into World War III. It has evolved itself into the most catastrophic, damaging war. And now you have Russia not backing down to this, saying that we are going to implement nuclear arsenal. Nukes are not off the table. Having nuclear missile, which is devastating. No one wants to go into nuclear war. Joe Biden doesn't care. Joe Biden's almost a foot in the grave right now. He doesn't care if the world blows up. He doesn't care. He's lived his life. He's already been the whore for the Democratic Party. He's already been a whore for corporations and the military-industrial complex. He's done his work. But for someone like me, and for the many, many other people, the billions of people on this planet, we're not in favor of World War III and nuclear war for a proxy so they could sell Russia off to BlackRock, which they know they can't do. So now, because people are well aware of this, here's this video. This is Joe Biden about to board Air Force One, and the media wants to ask him questions about this. The media wants to pretend to actually hold him accountable, which is amazing, because the media is also on board with a lot of these wars. The media is on board with trying to sell you the idea of catastrophic damage and misinforming you and propagandizing people, just like CNN did with Clarissa Ward, the Syrian prisoner that did that elaborate, Oscar-worthy performance of how we freed this guy, this well-groomed individual that's been trapped in a cell for months. But now here's Joe Biden completely ignoring the media, and the media screaming at him. There's a reporter screaming at him, telling him to answer some questions, that we need to talk to you. You're pushing us to World War III. You're pushing us into nuclear Armageddon, where we have no point of return. The doomsday clock is closest to midnight it's ever been. And what does Joe Biden do? Not even a turn. Not even a turnaround. Not even an acknowledgement. And this is a man who's not only doing these wars, not only destroying your economic prosperity in America, but also has left Maui, Hawaii, East Palestine, Ohio, and South Carolina and Florida in damage. And barely gave you anything. Barely gave you any support. And like I said, this guy could not care less. This guy who's already a foot in the grave, his brain is so melted at this point, he's a walking vegetable. Just does not give a damn anymore. Not even giving any acknowledgement to a reporter who's screaming at him. Screaming, "Mr. President! You gotta answer a question. Give us something. Say something." And And that, my friends, was the guy that was supposed to bring the soul back to America. That was his promise to the country after the horrendousness of Donald Trump. We're going to bring the soul back to America. How's that working out? How's that working out? When the guy that's about to basically kill us all with this insanely idiotic, narcissistic, just dastardly warfare schedule that could put us in imminent danger of nuclear attacks does not give a damn. Not even an acknowledgement to the press.